With the uncertainty of Jonathan Majors' future in the MCU thanks to allegations against the actor, the internet has seen an uptick in the question of who could potentially jump in to fill the shoes of Kang the Conqueror, the current Marvel big bad. As unfortunate as it would be to lose such a talented actor from a role that he really excels in, today on Top 10 Nerd we're going to talk about our top 10 picks for actors who can replace Jonathan Majors as Kang. Number 10. Michaela Cole. Kicking off today's list with a choice that is kind of out of left field. If Marvel was to replace Jonathan Majors as Kang, it could be handled in a few different ways. The different variants of Kang means that finding someone to jump into the spot without much explanation is actually pretty easy to do. Well, what if Marvel decided to give us a female variant of Kang instead? It's not like it's unheard of for comic books. While Michaela Cole is totally already in the MCU playing Aneka in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, her role is way too small for the chops this actress has got. She was basically a secondary character, almost less than even that, and given her performance in that role and the skills she showed off in the limited series I May Destroy You, I think just shifting her character over to play a female Kang would be really cool and super interesting. She absolutely has the chops to do the job too. I think this one is a little far-fetched, but that's why it's number 10. Number 9. Damson Idris. While Michaela might be a bit of a stretch, the actor that has been talked about the most to fill the role of Kang if Jonathan gets the boot is British-Nigerian actor Damson Idris. Damson is known for his roles in the crime drama Snowfall and the Netflix film Outside the Wire alongside Marvel star Anthony Mackie, both of which show enough nuance and physicality to show that Idris could take on the role without much struggle at all. An insider, Jeff Snyder, said on the Hot Mic podcast, Disney is looking into actors like Damson Idris as a potential replacement for Majors as Kang the Conqueror. He said, quote, "And again, even though there hasn't been any movement on the Jonathan Majors front, I've heard that's the kind of actor who, like if Jonathan Majors got the boot as Kang, someone like Damson Idris is the type of person that Marvel may look to replace him if that in fact happens." Number 8. Alvis Hodge. With the pretty upsetting downfall of DC's Black Adam movie, Alvis Hodge is not likely to return as Hawkman, although I have to say he was awesome in that role. So instead, maybe Marvel should jump on it and snag this absolutely terrific actor to jump into the role of Kang the Conqueror, assuming Majors gets recast. Even if it wasn't for Kang, I think Marvel should snag all this while they can. The guy is an awesome, intense actor. He's physically imposing, and he is no stranger to comic books either, having also voiced Jon Stewart, Green Lantern, in the animated movie Green Lantern Beware My Power. Also, this guy has been hustling in the acting world for a good long while, doing a lot of smaller roles. To see him step into the role of Kang would be super cathartic. I feel like he deserves it, especially after Black Adam was a bit of a critical failure. Number 7. John David Washington. When looking at a replacement for Jonathan Majors, we can readily look at actors that are in or around the same level of their careers. Personally, I think John David Washington is one actor that has made a name for himself in recent years. Establishing himself with films like BlacKkKlansman, Tenet, Malcolm and Marie, and Amsterdam, not to mention his role in Ballers, Washington has shown that he is more than diverse and talented enough as an actor to take on the time-traveling, multiversal villain of Kang the Conqueror. His role in Tenet in particular shows off Washington's action skills, able to perform extremely complex stunts and fight scenes. Coupled with his ability to convey intensity and ruthlessness, transfer that over to Kang, and coupled with a little dash of his likability, I could see him slotting very nicely into the MCU without too much fuss. The other thing about John David Washington is that he's got some name recognition thanks to his pops. Number 6. Denzel Washington. If we are going to talk about the son, it would be extremely interesting to see his dad jump into the role as well, most likely as a much older variant of Nathaniel Richards, and I think we all know that Denzel could pull it off with an imposing and intense performance. Throughout his whole career, we have seen Denzel bring a similar mood to his characters that Majors brought to Kang, and he still brings that kind of performance to his more recent roles too. Just look at Denzel in Training Day, The Equalizer, American Gangster, or Malcolm X, and then imagine what he can do as the MCU's Conqueror. On the one hand, I think it would be almost impossible to convince Denzel to do it, actually, and I also think it might take you out of the world of the MCU, but if it was handled similarly to how Josh Brolin was with Thanos, like they treated him with the same kind of gravity, it would be pretty cool and it would actually be incredibly compelling. Number 5. John Boyega. Another name that has floated around more than almost any other in terms of who could jump into a Jonathan Majors-sized hole would be John Boyega. Boyega has been a bit quieter recently. His character in Star Wars was done kinda dirty. And that's not just my opinion. A lot of people wish that Finn got the respect he deserved. So maybe a way for Disney to pay this guy back for that is to just give him the chance to destroy the Avengers. I think it would be absolutely dope. Watch any of Boyega's other films like Attack the Block, Detroit, Pacific Rim Uprising, and even the Star Wars films, and you'll see there's no shortage of talent when it comes to Boyega. He absolutely kills it almost every single time. Not only is he talented, but he can handle the pressures of a blockbuster too. But Boyega is also young enough to do a string of films for Marvel if they wanted him, and the physicality to accomplish the required action scenes. Boyega has my vote for sure, that's all I'm saying. Number 4. Giancarlo Esposito. This guy seems to have the secret key to inserting himself into different franchises as an intense big bad. Now, similar to if Denzel Washington were to play an older variant of Kang, I think the same would have to happen for Esposito. I couldn't see him coming in to play the main big bad, not really. Also, we know that Esposito is trying to get himself into more good guy type roles, but given his proclivity for playing villains in seemingly everything, it wouldn't surprise me to see him jump from Star Wars to the MCU. Quick tangent here though, I really like Giancarlo Esposito, but I don't think he has ever really hit quite the same as a villain as when he first knocked it out of the park in Breaking Bad. That's just my opinion. He was so good in that role, but not a lot of his subsequent roles have given him that same level of writing, so I feel like he still has a lot more to give. Maybe in the MCU. Number 3. Yahya AbdulMateen II. Yahya has been having a good career so far, especially recently, starring in the Aquaman movies, Matrix Resurrections, Candyman, the Watchmen series, and he's even slated to be in the Mad Max spin-off Furiosa movie in 2024. He's an incredibly strong actor, and it almost feels like he has come out of nowhere. The only issue I can think of is that he may have some conflicting issues for being in the Aquaman movies, but if those movies aren't going to be continuing forward into DC's new James Gunn-led movie universe, I think it would be silly for Marvel to not at least take Mateen onto their movies in some capacity. He has already proved himself as a comic book villain as Black Manta in Aquaman, but Kang would give this talented actor the opportunity to show off many more approaches to playing a villain. Number 2. Javier Bardem. I read a little part of an article that mentioned Javier Bardem as a possible choice to step into the role of Kang, and honestly, I don't hate it. In fact, I kinda love it. Javier Bardem hasn't failed to capture attention in any of his roles. He's incredibly versatile as an actor. He is more than capable enough to play an imposing villain, just look at him in Skyfall or No Country for Old Men. He's also incredibly likable at the same time. Again, just watch Skyfall. But even his recent role in Dune, or in, anything this actor has been in, and I think you'd be hard-pressed to try and convince anyone that a Javier Bardem take on Kang the Conqueror wouldn't totally rock, with his awesome and unique approach and imposing voice. Also, he was easily one of my favorite parts of the recent Dune movie, and he didn't even have that big of a role. I feel like he is just a scene stealer, and I think the most successful MCU villains have all had that quality. And finally, in at number 1, Laika Stanfield. Now, I saw some people suggest this online, and at first, I didn't really see it. But the more I thought about it, and thought about how talented and multifaceted this actor actually is, yeah, I could actually kinda see it. Laika Stanfield has tons of experience delivering multifaceted characters, all of whom are unique and have a natural intensity and unpredictability. All factors that can make him a perfect fit for Kang. I think Lakeith is maybe a little less physically imposing as some of the other actors on this list, but we have also seen actors make massive physical changes to take on Marvel comic book character roles. With his range of acting skills, he could bring a fresh and thrilling take on the character, making Nathaniel Richards a menacing antagonist that the MCU has yet to see. Stanfield's ability to transform himself into different characters while maintaining an underlying sense of authenticity could just elevate Kang to a whole new level. Well, there we are. Let's hope for the best outcome on this situation, whatever that means for you. In the meantime though, I'm Adam Andrews, this is Top 10 Nerd, and I'll catch you all on the flippy flop. Peace out, nerds.